Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. In this video, we're going to look at the graphical interface for sound device inputs and outputs and how to assign these inputs and outputs for recording. So I'm going to be demonstrating on a Mac computer. The procedure is very similar for a PC and there will be another video for that. But right now I'm in the System Preferences menu for a Mac and I'm going to click on the Sound menu. And we can see that there's a sound effects menu, an output menu, and an input menu. Now let's focus really quickly on the input menu. Right now I'm using the display audio, which is the default audio device for a Mac computer with no external microphones plugged in. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in a USB microphone. It's a Samsung brand, Go Mic. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it took a few seconds, but I plugged in the microphone and then it did show up on the list of inputs. And it highlighted the Samsung Go Mic, which means that the computer automatically defaulted to that microphone. Now you can see it pop up on my screen, which you may see too. If you have a recording software open, I'm using Adobe Audition, it says the list of audio devices connected to the operating system has changed. Do you want to open the audio hardware preferences? So this indicates that an audio capture and recording and editing software was open and it sensed this change, the same change that the computer sensed. So I'm going to go ahead and click on yes. And we can see that in the Adobe Audition preferences, let me close these. In the preferences menu, which you would normally find by going to Adobe Audition and preferences menu opened, and it automatically defaulted to the Samsung Go Mic. Now, I say that because before the demo started, I purposely went in and made sure that the display audio was set for the input and output. So let me go ahead and close this window. I'm going to hit OK anyway and show you how to get there. So in Adobe Audition, you would go to the Adobe Audition menu item, go to Preferences. Whoops, I meant to click on Audio Hardware. And then you would assign your input and your default output. Now, one thing I'm going to point out in this demo, which is the topic of another video, is that in this Preferences menu, you have a choice to identify your microphone sample rate. Now, I plugged in the microphone, the computer on Audition had the computer conversation, and it defaulted to 48 kilohertz. Now, this microphone is rated by the manufacturer to sample at both 44.1, that's 44.1 kilohertz, and 48 kilohertz. Audition automatically selected 48 kilohertz. Excellent, I hit OK. Now I can start a project in Adobe Audition. Let's take a look quickly at how this works in Audacity. So in Audacity, you go to the Audacity menu, you click on Preferences just like Audition, and in Audacity, the menu's the same, but it's called Devices, whereas in Audition, it's called Audio Hardware. And then where the inputs and outputs are called default in Audition, they're called Device and set up as playback and recording. So same exact utilities, just different wording. Now, let me point out, again, in both softwares before I hit record, I set display audio as the default for both software before I plugged in the Samsung Go Mic. As you saw in the early demonstration, Audition picked up on the change, Audacity did not. That doesn't make it any better or worse of a software, it's just a difference in the way that Audacity communicates with the main CPU. So I'm going to go ahead and make those changes. And I'm going to make sure that my playback device and my recording device are the Samsung Go Mic. Now I want to mention one other thing here, which we'll talk about more and more as we go forward. The reason that I can set my Samsung Go Mic as a playback device, or in Audition an output device, is because it has a headphone jack on it. So I can literally monitor, I can listen to myself while I'm recording directly from the microphone. So the microphone is both the input and the output. So that's the explanation on how we assign inputs and outputs both between our computer and our audio software, and how we identify and set up these graphical interfaces on our computer.